Hi, I'm Bob Zimmer, Member of Parliament, today with Dean Werk here at the heart of the Fraser. Dean, talk a little bit about how you got involved in fishing.
Well, at a very young age, my grandfather had a wonderful place on the Vedder River, 47 years, and sport fishing was always a part of my family. And in all reality, it was actually how we fed our family, and amongst our farming, sort of that we did our cattle and chickens and one thing and the next. But
Right.
I was able to go out and sport fish with my father, and my grandfather would go out and fish a little bit as well. It was just part of sort of our DNA.
Right.
And growing up in the Chilliwack area, in the heart of the Fraser area,
Yeah.
fishing is really what it's all about for many of the people. And it's known as really one of the heart of the areas of all the great fishing in the salmon threshold
Right.
of the Fraser River.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. We were talking a little bit. We see, there's Dean and there's your boat, but there's a much bigger group that is actually provided for by this particular business. And maybe we talked about it before, but how many mouths, how many roofs over heads, and meals on tables? How many does this business provide for?
Yeah, well, our business has, we have 20 people that work for us here at Great River Fishing Adventures.
Yeah.
And we have office staff, so we have 4 office staff, 15 guides, and then one other part-time office staff.
One thing that that the viewer might not know about is that the ones that are involved in environmental stewardship are people just like you. It's the people that are on the water that are remediating streams, and you were just illustrating to me how important it is that the gravel beds that you wouldn't think salmon are in there as we speak, but the little eggs are sitting there right now, ready for some high water to have them develop. So maybe just speak about some of your environmental stewardship efforts.
We talked about the heart of the Fraser. The heart of the Fraser is from the mission area to right here where we are today, right here in Hope. And this is the most delicate portion of the ecosystem to salmon of the entire Fraser River. Mm-hmm. This is where all the magnificent things happen.
Right.
The water comes up, the fish spawn, they have eggs in that gravel, the river comes up, they take refuge in the bushes and the trees, and that's why it is so important for us to continue to rebuild, do the good stewardship work, so that we can have fish for the present and future generation. And if we can continue to do good work and put fish in hatcheries, create good stable gravel beds for fish to spawn in, to be good stewards in that sense, we could pump more fish into the system, which would allow all the different sectors to have an opportunity to harvest. We have one of the most incredible hatcheries on the Chilliwack Vedder River system, and that hatchery bumped up production of white Chinook salmon, the largest of the salmon population, and it bumped it up to another 1 million white Chinooks to be put out. And at only a 10% marking ratio, it's pretty hard to get a grasp on what's coming back, because we can't tell whether they're wild or they're hatchery. And if we're bumping that amount of fish that are going up to the ocean every year, then those fish that come back should be an opportunity for all to have, you can feed the orcas, then the rest of the fish coming up that hatchery. And the Chilliwack Vedder River is the most fished river in all of British Columbia. There are more rod hours. So with a good mark selective opportunity, by urging the ministry to move up and to clip 100% of those fish in the future, is going to give everybody a little bit more of an opportunity.
Including the southern resident killer whales, which I have heard they're doing very well.
They are, eating those nice, nutritious, and lovely, high on oil content Chinook white salmon.
So Dean, it comes down to my last question. Where does that leave us now? What do we do now for the future? We talk about the livelihoods that are affected just by your business alone, and we see another potential closure that we're concerned about, that the minister will close the fishery again. What can we do now?
Well, I think it's about getting a message out there that all this matters. It's not just one voice that matters. It's a united front. And For myself, I'm very proud. My business is an Indigenous sport fishing business. I'm also
And you're Indigenous yourself. I don't know if you've said that yet, but you're Indigenous yourself.
Thank you. Yes, and I am. And I'm the vice president of the Stolo Business Association here. And my son is an Indigenous sport fishing guide here on the Fraser River. Wow. And I'm very proud that we have an opportunity to go out and showcase this on the river to the rest of the world. And we get to do it in this backdrop, gorgeous backdrop that we're in now.
Absolutely.
And we get to talk about culture and tradition. And that really is, to me, is the takeaway from this, is trying to get a unified group of us together to understand that we all need to share in the environmental stewardship moving forward.
Just want to thank you, Dean, for bringing us out here today and telling us your stories and showing us on the trip down all the stories with the Indigenous groups you talked about on the way down, and all the cooperative efforts with the community, that you really are that person, that bridge builder that really wants to make salmon better for everybody. And I think that came across loud and clear. Again, thank you for your efforts. Appreciate what you do on the river. We don't want to lose people like Dean. Dean are the ones, Dean and his company and the people that are part of the public fishery are the very ones that are out here actually doing the environmental stewardship work, the much needed work for salmon, and we wouldn't want to lose them for that reason either. They're the ones doing the work. So again, thank you, Dean, for taking us out. Appreciate your efforts, and we'll see you again soon.
Like so many British Columbians, some of my favorite memories are fishing with my family. If you believe the minister needs to start listening to the concerns of our BC fishing families and communities, I encourage you to call her at her office at 902-527-5655 or send an email to bernadette.jordan@parle.gc.ca. We must ensure that our children and our grandchildren have the opportunity to enjoy the great outdoors and participate in an angling tradition that has been a proud way of life for generations.